Are you a Star Wars fan?
To a certain extent.
Only when he wants to watch it.
Well, he likes Star Wars, so I have to like it.
So I support.
No, we into that.
Oh man. I love you, dog. You don't even know.
Me too.
All right. Yeah. Well, say it back.
I love you too, Brian.
At least in camera.
I'm gonna look straight at you. I love you too.
Thank you. No. All right, let's get to it. Hang with Beat Drop Podcast, episode 102. And I got my best friend, I'm gonna declare it, you know what I'm saying? Yes. I got my best friend, Radio Hyna, you know what I'm saying? Sis, I don't even know you got so many nicknames.
Radio Hyna, Sis, Vane,
the vibe queen.
Hype girl.
Oh, hype girl. Hostess
with the mostest. I do. Call me what you want, but you can't call me broke.
Oh my God.
I'm coming in hot.
Yeah, I like that. All right, sis. Well, first off, I appreciate you finding time to record because,
yes.
If you want to tell the story about what happened yesterday, it's up to you. But we were supposed to record yesterday, but there was things that were happening. You know what I mean? Like when you called me in the morning, I was like, I don't know. Just don't feel like something's happening.
Right? Because I was calling you, number one. I usually FaceTime you. We never call.
This is true.
But also I'm always busy and
true.
You're welcome. Anything for you. And I know how if anyone knows B is like, B loves time because he loves to keep time. He loves to be on time. And if you're not on time, I always try to be early because if you're not, I feel like early is on time for B and on time is like late for him. So yeah, me trying to be early didn't happen. I will share because why not? I'm an open book. I actually didn't tell Instagram, so y'all are getting the tea, the exclusive, the exclusive here. I'll let them know. I got you.
Yeah.
So I'll let the peoples know. So yesterday, or when we were supposed to record the day prior to that, I woke up and my car was vandalized. And we're on Easter weekend right now. So Easter came early and it came on my car because, pause both ways, because there was an egg that cracked. Someone egged my car, which it could have been the neighbor who's a hater, or it could have been just little kids. Regardless of the point is my car was fucking hit up. Sorry, I cussed. I didn't want to. I'm pissed.
Yeah, you're still feeling it.
I know. I'm like, I just got re-triggered. But yeah, so my car got hit, and then Welt's trying to set that up. So I already knew that. Dang, okay, gotta get my car washed. Gotta do all this before the Zoom meeting or whatever. And do it. I handle it. I'm on my way back and my car dies, my battery. So it was just like boom, boom, one after another. And it was just already like a pretty tough week. And earlier in that week too, my car had gotten hit. Oh, not my car that had gotten hit. I'm an idiot. I was stressed. I hit my own car.
Yeah, you're like, the pull hit me.
Like, the pull was there, came out of nowhere, dude. For real, the pillar's fine. Pillar's doing great. Yeah. Pillar's great. My car, not so much. It's fine because it matches now. I guess we're ratchet, so now it's like a ratchet mobile. We're okay. Drew's better days.
Yeah, I know, and I told you too. I was like, my mom hit my car last week too. If it makes you feel better.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. It kind of did.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm not the only one. I know it's just struggles real. I just feel like it was just a lot. Like I just think on top of the heavy week that I was having, you know what I mean? Like but I just feel like that's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I legit stopped and I was like, God, what are you trying to tell me? I
Yeah.
mean, I hear you, but can we not use my car?
Yeah.
Like the
Yes.
first time I hit the pillar, the second time eggs were cracked on it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like breakfast, like
Yeah. Yeah.
what is it, God? Like,
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're working on it. That's when I was just praying about it, and
Yeah.
that's
No,
all
I
I can
know.
do is just pray because I'm like, okay, I'll be okay. I'll be fine. It could be worse. It could be worse. I was also
True.
telling myself that it could be worse, and we're fine.
Yeah.
Control what I can. That's another thing
Mm.
too. I was like, I need to just control what I can and just like that's it. There's no point in. That's another thing too that I've also been working on is learning how to respond and not react,
Mm.
because I feel like when we react we're like quick, we're impulsive, we're just like we
True.
act with emotion and all that stuff that comes with it. And then when we respond we kind of like think about it, think through, and then see how we're gonna move forward, like I
Yeah.
guess a little bit more logically as opposed to like with emotion.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm very quick with that. I'm very quick. I'm super emotional person, like so yeah.
No. Yeah.
I think I did good for the type of day that I had. And considering too, like even my roommate was telling me, he's like, dang girl, like your car first and then you came back and then you told me about your battery, and he was like, he's like, you need to like let it go, just you'll be okay. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'll be fine. And like I know that I have like the support systems around me. Number one support system, God, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's another thing too. I was just like, okay, I'm just praying, and like my people's got me. And I'm like, I let you down a little bit, but
Nah.
we worked it out. Like you too, you were like, okay sis, I know you're going through it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm here.
No.
I
Yeah.
survived another day.
No. No. And then right now you said have people around you, and we were before we started recording, we were talking about the last episode we did together was December 2019, right? So that was before the whole pandemic, and and the guests that I've had on, we've kind of discussed like what happened during the pandemic, what did you go through, and I personally feel that you were someone who was there for me a lot during the pandemic, right? Like even before, like we almost talk almost like like every day, because you and I were kind of going through similar situations. We
Yeah,
were at the radio station. We were not there no more. And we
our
would just talk.
lives.
Yeah, we were just talking like every day, just trying to figure out ways to like uplift one another. How do you say
Mhm.
uplift
One another.
one another? There you go.
Mhm.
So, obviously, like you were so important in my life. I mean, still are, but like at that time, because I remember I would call you and we would just talk for like hours, and we're like, yo, we got to record these things. But we're like, one day, But I wanted to talk about that, about how important it is to be there for each other, because it's like at that time we spoke so much, bro. I was remembering that it was like we would just call and just talk, like, yo, we going through this, like we're stuck in the house,
Like
so
what you watching or
yeah.
just on some
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's like when the pandemic happened, obviously, I know how you were feeling, but I hope you could kind of speak on it just for the people. Like, how were you feeling around that time when the pandemic did happen, and what kind of got you through it, if that makes sense?
Um, well, dang, yeah. During the pandemic, um, I mean, my life went from being on like from like from like 100 to zero, literally, not 0 to 100, because I was always on the go, working 2 jobs, working at the studio, being at the studio, like just, or if not being at the clubs, whatever,
Yeah.
like, um, and yeah, when from literally going from doing a lot to doing nothing. I mean, it was like I was in a major funk, and legit thankful for you.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for Q. I'm thankful for other homies too that like,
Yeah.
that were like in there on the daily check-ins, you know what I mean? Because I feel like they were super important, because like, yeah, especially for me, because I lived on my own. Like I
Yeah.
was literally like alone. Like, I mean, my family, like they were nearby, but I wasn't going over as much, because obviously of the times. But yeah, I think it was super important, and I'm grateful that I'm like that I had you and other people, you know, that I was just able to like, I guess, just communicate with, because yeah, I'm like, I feel like I truly was alone, you know, like
Yeah.
because I had roommates that I lived with, but I feel like they were always in and out and they weren't really consistent. At least not until towards the end, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks for, because to be honest, like I'm like kind of thinking about it, like I don't know how it would have been had I not had you.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
No, and it was crazy because like I got to know you even way better at that time. You know, like we were having cool conversations. Like I remember even you like just checking me in certain areas. You know what I mean? Like you're like, yo, you can't do, you know what I mean? It was just cool like to be able to talk to you so freely. You know what I mean? Because obviously when we were doing like the radio stuff, the music stuff, we're just on the go. You know, like you say, we're just going places, doing things. But like at that time, we got to know each other so much better. You know what I mean? So it's like
yeah.
I don't know. It's just cool for me to remember back at that time and think about where we're at now and just seeing the growth, you know, as you as a person and even us as a friendship. You know what I'm saying? Like just having like random arguments too and shit. You know.
I mean, and looking back on it, like I honestly, I'd be saying that I'm grateful for the pandemic, because the pandemic slowed me down and it allowed me to do things, truly do the things that I wanted to do. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I mean, we planned a backpack drive on
Yeah.
a FaceTime call. Like, I mean, like
Yeah.
that happened during the pandemic, be like, you know, and
Yeah.
that happened on one of our calls, legit.
Yeah.
Like, it was just you hitting me up one day and you're like, yo, I want to do something for the people, for the community. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Let's run
Yeah.
it. I'm totally in. And then
Yeah.
look at what we did. Like
Yeah.
legit. Like I'm like, oh,
Damn.
who's telling the people? Are we telling the people? Should I tell them? You want to tell them?
No, yeah, you know, you tell them because I feel like that. I literally wrote that down when you like I almost forgot about it in a sense because it was like I remember we did it and then it was
No.
like that was the first time I saw you ever since like the lockdown. I remember like
Yes.
I was like, damn, that's the first time I'm gonna see her. Like it was just cool, and then being able to do that, it just felt cool. Even you reposting like you know kids wearing their backpacks and stuff. Like it felt nice to
The
know that.
after, the before and the after.
Yeah. So like, do you want to talk about it a little bit? You know what I mean? Get into it. Because
Yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
getting
yeah,
into it. I'm
yeah,
gonna get into it really quickly. Okay, so during the pandemic, like we said, we were just obviously there for each other, and we would always be talking. And on one of our calls, he was like, "Yo, I want to do something for the people," and I'm like, "Yes, I'm on board." And we just started like kind of brainstorming, going back and forth, and then. I work for the city, so I work for the city of Pico Rivera. So I'm like, okay, that's gonna be a perfect opportunity for me to
Mhm.
like access, like just everything, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that was like where it was easier. I'm more like, okay, we're gonna do it in Pico. It's gonna be
Hmm.
easy, whatever.
Hmm.
So yeah, we planned a backpack drive. I think we ended up like after all the little brainstorms that we were like looking at, especially also looking at the times because we were still in a pandemic. So we
Yeah.
were like, it can't be like we can't do like a function where people are coming through because people
Hmm.
obviously weren't coming. So yeah, we ended up doing a backpack drive. It was a drive-through. It happened in one of the city parks. I think our goal in the beginning was 500, and we ended up doubling it,
Yeah.
getting 500 backpacks. And we literally started with zero money, zero funding, just the idea
Hmm.
and the thought. And we did it. We, like I said, we doubled it. Volunteers came through, different organizations partnered with us. I think it was, I mean, off top. Um, there was the Rotary Club from the city. They were like our nonprofit. So we were able to get like monetary donations. The library, Chick-fil-A, the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, just different people. The mayor. And you know what? The event actually turned out better than we had planned it
Yeah.
because we planned for it just to be a drive-through. And number one, like we said, 500 backpacks. We doubled it, and we doubled the amount. And then last minute the mayor got a local ministry to donate food baskets, so there were 200 families that got service with food baskets, which was dope
Yeah.
because like the parents were already coming through to, and that's I think another reason why we did it, because I felt like a lot of the drive-through events or a lot of the stuff that was happening in the community were like drive-through food drives and stuff like that, but there was nothing really for the kids, and that's what
Right.
we wanted, you know, you being a dad and like me just loving children.
Yeah.
um that's why we did it, you know. and it was a success. And honestly, I we did it in 2 months.
Yeah, that's true.
Done in 2 months, like literally from having nothing to having everything. And then again the event day comes, and then the food comes, and then like again, like that was just an added bonus to the parents, because the parents were already there to be happy for their kids, because the kids weren't able to be there with their friends. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
also like on the social distance, and like the school from home or whatever. So yeah, I think it was just a blessing. And literally, like, how else would I have been able, like, think about it, if I would have done that
Yeah.
with the life that I had before, like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Like, well, I mean, I feel like now the fact that I've done, and I've done two since then,
Yeah,
like,
no, that's true.
I've done events, like I've continued to do it. It like
Yeah.
sparked something in me, being like, and you and I
Yeah.
have also talked about this too, like, that it just kind of like, again, like, that's why I say that I'm grateful for the pandemic, because I feel like it
Yeah.
allowed me to really like come into, like, I feel like it's crazy, because I thought I knew my purpose, and it's just like, nah, God is like, no, girl, like, I have
Yeah.
greater and bigger for you, because this is like, I think I was always, I always knew that I was gonna be serving, like,
Yeah.
because I love people, so I always knew that I was gonna be working with people,
Yeah.
but yeah, this whole
No.
nonprofit thing, like, that's a whole other level, and I know I'm gonna do it. Like, that's another goal
Yeah.
of mine, is to do a nonprofit, and it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. And
I
I'm also gonna do another backpack drive.
no, I already
So
know. No, I think one thing that I was like super happy about is at that time I just saw you get to work. Like I remember like we spoke about it, and after we spoke and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna figure this out. You were already making calls and you were just so motivated. You
yeah,
saw things like with a glass half full rather than half empty, and that just inspired me because I'm like, that's super dope to see you have that work ethic, and I know we spoke about this before where did you get that work ethic? But there's something about you when it comes to like community that like, I don't know, you just get so checked in.
yo, I love, and I just came from a community event right
Yeah.
now. My church did an Easter event, and yo, I
Yeah.
love it. I just love people. Be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I just I don't know. To be honest, I know why, because I'm gonna get sad. I'm gonna get emotional. Um, I think it's just because you don't know what people are going through. To be honest, you don't know. I It's even me. Like, I have my days, like yesterday. Like, oh, the day that I had yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
I I even still, regardless of what I go through, I still even try to have that good energy, again, because like who you interact with, you don't know what they're going through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so like being at this event right now, like the people that are there, like, you don't know what their life is like at home, and they're coming
Yeah.
into our space, or they're coming to this experience, like, let's give them the best, or
Yeah.
so I feel like that's why I am the way that I am, like,
Yeah.
and then I mean, I just love like seeing those moments, like, or getting those DMs, like, oh my goodness, I went to the event, you're awesome, or getting pictures of the kids with the stuff, or like
Yeah.
being thanked, like it, I mean, not to say that like you're getting praised, but it's just in like kind of like I guess gratitude in a sense, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's not like you're looking for it, like, oh, like give me recognition, but it feels good to know that the stuff that you're doing is making an impact. You just feel like, okay,
validates it.
yeah, there you go. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And it's we gotta figure out how to get this nonprofit for you though, man, because we need to document all this stuff,
I know, be legit. I'm just praying about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I feel like with everything, like I just pray to God. I'm like, okay, God, it's for you. I'm doing this for you. You know why I'm doing it. You know who it's to serve. And if it's in your will, you will find the way. Legit.
Yeah.
That's just all I say, and all like I'm just give it to him, and that's it. Like, and like, bruh, 500
Yeah.
to 1,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or even the backpack drive that you helped me with is also where you came to DJ. Like
Yeah.
that one I did in 2 weeks. Like, and
Yeah.
I had the same thing. I had zero money. Like,
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
and that helped us. That was to, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm actually working on another one. And with the nonprofit, that'll be better because it'll allow me to do more events, not just backpack drives. I can do, different events to cater to different, ages and community. But we're working on it, work in progress. But
no, yeah,
this is document right here. I'll check in.
yeah.
The next time, I'll be like, yo, where you at with the nonprofit? So we good.
No, I feel it. And then, what's one thing you felt that you learned about yourself during the pandemic that you possibly didn't know about yourself before?
I don't know. I'm still learning.
Progress.
I'll let you know. We're still in the pandemic over here. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I always knew this, that I'm like, well, that I'm strong, independent woman. Like, I already knew that, but I just feel like I guess I learned that I can do it. I can do it on my own, because I literally did. Well, not really with the support, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's weird though, because I feel like I already went through a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like my family, like in 2015, like with what happened, just like, it was weird. Like, it's weird. It was weird processing the pandemic. Like, not to say that I didn't process it, but I just feel like, I don't know. Not to say that I was already, like, I've already been sad. It was weird. It was weird, I guess, to say. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm trying to think, like, had I not gone through what I went through in 2015, how would I have been during the pandemic? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think I just learned that I can do it on my own, Yeah. Legit.
No, that makes sense.
Because I mean, I could have gone back to my mom's. Did not.
Yeah. No.
My apartment.
Yeah. My place. That's my bed. No, I love it. And like, when do you feel, like, I know, like you said, we're still in a pandemic, but when do you feel that possibly, like, you started feeling like the light in the end of the tunnel, in a sense, when the whole pandemic started happening? Because it was, as much as we did, like, for example, the backpack drive, still being in your house every day and still kind of being accustomed to a certain life. When do you feel you started seeing some positive traction in your end?
I think it's when I started working again for the city when I came back, because I wasn't working still, because when I did the backpack drive, I was still furloughed, Yeah. So I think when I was able to come back to the city, I knew the radio station, that was obviously over and done with, but but you know what I mean? Like, I feel, I mean, that was kind of like I don't want to say it was like we were in it, you know what I mean? But I think that was kind of like, okay, the ball is kind of like rolling, Yeah. And then I guess when I don't really go out anymore though. It's so weird. Yeah. It's weird, because I mean, not that I went out often before, but I would go to, like, to see you or to see the other homies mixing and stuff. Yeah. And I feel like I don't really do that.
Why do you think? You just feel like you're just like, you don't have the energy for it or something, or you just feel like you're just...
I think the pandemic also kind of put things into perspective as far as, like, who's your people and who's not your people. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, and not to say that, like, oh, now that everybody's fake, whatever. No. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. And also, like, it makes you value time differently. You know what I mean? I think, like, I think, or at least for me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm at the point where if it's not serving me, then I'm not gonna cater to it, Yeah, I'm not gonna entertain it, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm single.
Just in case you were wondering.
Yes, I'm very single, because that's why, but I'm just saying, like, but yes, even with dating too, because, like, I'm just like, to be honest, and then I'm looking for different things too, so and I think that also that's the pandemic to blame, not to blame, but because of the pandemic, just because I think, like, I was able to grow, like, I guess, more in my faith, that it just it now that we're kind of like back
Mhm.
into the swing of things, you
Right, right,
know,
right.
I I think I'm like carrying myself a lot differently because of
Yeah,
it, you know, and I mean to me that's a good thing, I think, you know.
yeah. And obviously, if for people that are listening, they know that they keep hearing you talk about faith, right? So it's
Yes.
like, I know you were always a person of faith, right? Like I
Yes.
know we always talk about God and stuff like that. But
Yes.
obviously there was a time that it took like a different shift, I feel, and obviously we've been to church together, we've had good conversations, about God and all that. How do you feel, now about your faith? Like, like, when do you feel you took that shift of being like, you know what, like, I'm gonna really just get in, I don't want to say get into it, but just take a
Into
different, yeah,
it.
take a different perspective on it?
um well, yeah, I think my faith, like you said, has always been my faith. I mean, I think when we went to that first service,
Yeah,
I feel like we went to Mosaic first, didn't we?
yeah, we did.
Before we went to Zoe,
Yeah.
my home.
Yeah. My community.
My people. um yeah, I think just experiencing like a Christian service, because I grew up Catholic,
Mhm,
experiencing a Christian service, um especially with the time coming out of the time or the season that I was in.
mhm.
Coming out of that season, I think it was just what I needed, you know what I mean? And I think I don't want to say that I'm fully shifted. I feel like I'm still shifting, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because I think like I'm still growing and I'm still learning a lot more. And it's crazy because I'm just like thinking about it and I'm like I know God has more plan for me, and I'm just
yeah,
like it's exciting, you know, in
yeah,
a sense, because I don't know, but I know that it's going to be great and grand, and you know,
yeah,
it's just not on when I want it. I'm just like, I want it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Nah, it's true
it's just
though.
not on my timing, you know. It's like it's
Yeah,
on his timing. But it's I like the, you know, that I'm learning. I'm not perfect, and I don't know everything,
mhm,
and I'm still learning, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But I think it's like I said, I definitely different and a change of pace from where I was back
yeah,
in 2019, you know what I mean? So
yeah. No,
um
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, and what made you want to serve? Because that's a big step. Even me, I'm a person of faith, and I've been Christian my whole life, and I personally have never served. That's like a different step. Because you're giving your time, you're giving your efforts, and you're learning, and with different people you never met before. So what made you go, you know what, like, I'm just gonna serve? Because that's a big step, man, and I'm proud of you for
I
doing that. Because that's
Thank you.
huge. But what made
Huge.
you, yeah, what made you want to, like, take the next step?
Well, we attended Zoe, and after we attended Zoe's service, I was like, this is cool. Like I like
Yeah.
this. Like I just felt like the energy that I liked it, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So I don't think I jumped in right away. I think I attended two services before I got into culture class, which is what to become part of the serve team, you have to do a culture class, which
Mm-hmm.
shows you about like, you know, the mission about the church and all that stuff, and like you
Yeah.
learn about yourself and the values and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Um, but I think I just was like, I'm just gonna dive in, you know, I'm just gonna go all in and
Yeah.
just like, you know, just fully submerge myself. I feel like because like again, like when I got there, I liked the community, so I'm like, I like to be there for the people. So obviously, how was I going to do that? Being on the serving team. So, and to be honest, when I started serving, or when I first like went in to do the culture class or whatever,
Yeah.
um, I thought I was going to be on a different team. You know, me being like at work, I'm production, I do
Yeah.
video editing, I do
Mm-hmm.
like photo, I do all that stuff. Like I honestly thought I was going to do that, like
Yeah.
which would be cool, But then I started doing admin, and I was like, you know what? Like they proposed admin. They're like, hey, would you be down to do admin? Because they needed people from on that team. And I'm like, what is it? And they're like, oh, it's just, you know, you're in charge of the like the counting and the spreadsheets and stuff. And I'm like, why not? You know, I don't
Right.
know. I mean, I can do spreadsheets. Throw me in. I'm here to
Yeah.
serve. Like God maybe wants me to be on that team.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to do, you know. So I'm like, okay, maybe God's calling me to be on the admin team. That's what I'm gonna do. So that's it. Like, and I've been there. I've been serving. I feel like I've been serving for a while. Like
Yeah, you
maybe a
have.
good like 5-6
Yeah.
months. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit in August will be my year that I've been going to Zoe.
Yeah. Damn, it's already been a
So
year?
in August.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I do remember you saying that though. I do remember you going like, yo, I think I found my community. Like I do actually remember you saying that during the
I
service.
know.
Like I remember you telling me
I know. That's
that. No,
beautiful.
no, it
It's so
is.
nice. And it's so crazy because I feel like I'm like while I'm praying about it, but for some reason I feel like God's calling me to do the Spanish ministry there, like to be a
Oh, for
part
real?
of the Spanish ministry at Zoe. I don't know if there is, they don't have one, but I feel like they're working on it because
Yeah.
they're in LA, you know, especially them being right there. I've even been outside, like, because with being on my serve team, sometimes we're like on the street, like getting signing people in,
Yeah.
and people come up to us and they're like, oh, what is this, you know, because there's Grand Central and it's super active right there,
Right.
like where our church is. And people come up and they talk in Spanish, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
honestly, there's very few people from our church that, not
Speak
few, but
Spanish.
there's very few people that can service that are on like the outside, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just praying about it. And if it's for me and if that's what he wants me to do, then I'm going to go where I'm called.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
Period.
That's beautiful. And you know, I know you know, being Christian, like there's people that don't have faith, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about when, you know, because I know you post stuff about, you know, you going to church, you know, you do all those things. So I'm sure
Oh,
you get like, I don't want to say backlash, you know, or you get
I do.
like negative, um, you know, like negative comments about it, you know. How do you deal with that? Do you just kind of empathize with people, or you just kind of like you just kind of let
Um,
people go through their own process in a sense?
it's to be again, I'm super emotional. So sometimes it makes me sad because I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't think that these people would be the ones to be DMing me or sending me a message like, you know, about me being at church and me being happy or whatever, you know.
Right.
Um, and how I deal with it, I pray for them
Yeah.
and I'll sometimes respond.
Yeah.
Um, like I'll either respond like praying for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only thing you can
Come
do.
to church. The
Yeah.
invitation's always here. You know, we're
Yeah.
always like, let me know when you want to come to a service. We can arrange a time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
um, but I just yeah, like I remember one time I posted something like pray for like, you know, pray about this, and the person was like, why? What is
Yeah.
prayer gonna help? And
Mm.
I was like, try it, you know,
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
it, because I would not be where I'm at today if it wouldn't be for, you know,
Yeah.
prayer, like legit, because I'm always praying or I'm always worshiping. And to be honest, I love worship because I feel like worship is double. You're praying and you're like literally worshiping
Mm.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're kind of getting a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like
Let's two for
always
one.
just like always singing worship songs. So I'm just like, I'm cool. I'm like, God's got me.
No.
But
No,
yeah,
that's
I
cool.
just pray for them legit. And I honestly, like, I do even say sometimes I get upset, but I'm like, oh, the enemy, you know, like just
Yeah.
trying to come, like, you know, or just trying to take the peace. And I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna let that, not gonna let it, you know, because why? They're just trolling.
Yeah. No, that's true. And I think even you right now saying, you know, I get upset. I think that's good to even say, because I feel that, you know, there's an assumption that once you become Christian, that you have to be perfect all the time.
I'm
You know what I
not.
mean? And that's so faulty, you know, because
Yeah.
even us, we try to be like, oh, I'm gonna be perfect, and you're not even really being authentic at that point. At least I feel, you know, that it's like that's not realistic. You know, I always say like God died for us when we were sinners, not when we were perfect. you know. And I always think about that. It's like, yo, I'm not perfect. I'm striving to be the best version of myself, but to think that I'm gonna be perfect and I'm not gonna do dumb ish, you know, or cuss or whatever, like I feel like that doesn't make sense, you know. So I'm glad you said that, because you're not gonna be perfect, man. And obviously you're gonna get bothered by certain things that people do online. Like, you're not just gonna be like, oh, it's okay.
Especially when it's coming from like that one person, bro, where you're like,
Yeah.
fam, I wish you were DMing me like on some other level. And you're DMing me about this, like
Yeah.
about my guy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
talk to your grandma, because your grandma, she be crazy. You feel me? Like, let your grandma be knowing you be talking like this, and no,
Yeah.
she would not have it. You know, she'd be backhanding you.
Get the chocolate out.
Get out of here. I said that too. Honestly, one time I
Yeah.
just got upset and I responded like, ask your mom. Ask her, because
Yeah, ask my future suegra.
ask Maria, ask Doña. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but
No, hey, but you know what? I actually want to ask you something. I wanted to ask you something because, you know, you're not the only person that I feel is going through that. I don't want to say transition, but that process where you grew up Catholic and you start going to a Christian church, right? And yeah, like I know that's a big one, because I know that there's people that their parents are Catholic, and it's, you know, and faith, you know, that's some serious stuff. Like, you know, religion, like it's not just something that you could just dismiss, especially when you grow up with a certain faith, and then you know, you start choosing where you want to what religion, quote unquote, you want to choose. Like, I'm sure that's a big deal. You know, me, I grew up Christian my whole life, so I can't personally, you know, answer that question. Yeah, I can relate, you know, because yeah, I've been Christian my whole life, you know, and to this day. So, but I know that, you know, your family is Catholic, you know. So for you, how does that work? You know, or even say how does that work? But how does that?
Been?
Yeah, there you go. Like, how does that happen?
How it's been going, bro?
Yeah, yeah, you know.
Ooh, it's yes, I did grow up Catholic, and even before that, that's actually how I started my career in radio, was at a Catholic radio station. So like, it's so crazy how it's just all like, you know, here we are. But my mom, to be honest, she's not really open to it, the fact that I'm going to Christian service, or that I'm like, you know, doing this. My dad was like, I'm like, come to church, Dad. And he's like, when? Where do you go? Oh, all right. Well, tell me one day and I'll go. Okay. My dad's more like open to it, and my mom's just like, no, she's so closed off. I feel like the rest of my family wouldn't really mind, just because, you know, just in comparing to like my aunts and uncles and their kids and my like cousins, like I feel like a lot of them kind of do their own thing, you know. But yeah, no, my sister too. My sister recently was saved, or got saved, like, I don't know, I don't say recently, it was pandemic 2019. So it's like 3 years ago. But yeah, so my sister also, you know, like, so it's just not just me. My sister and I both, you know, are now like going or following Christian faith. Am I saying that correctly? I don't know.
I think we get the point of it.
Okay,
You know,
yeah. So we're both like, following Christ differently in eyes of my mom. You know what I mean? But to be honest, like, I feel like my faith, like I said, my faith has always been my faith. And I just think that I'm not saying that, you know, what the Catholic faith, or like, you know, religion teaches isn't true. I just think that, you know, like, it's just super traditional, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like I get more out of the service and the word by attending attending a Christian, you know, Christian service. But yeah, I don't know, my mom, I'm praying about that too, because you know, like, I can't change her, you know what I mean? My mom is my mom. I know I'm never gonna change how, hopefully, like, she'll be more accepting, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that I can hope for. But other than that, like, I just, you know, I'm still gonna be myself, and, you know, because I'm not doing anything bad. You know what I mean?
I think that's the thing. Like, I think, you know, one thing that I, because me and my dad, we always have like good conversations about faith, and I told him, I was like, in the end of the day, I never wanted to be where it's Catholics against Christians, or
Yeah,
just so many religions, right? I like
sure.
I feel that that's not the point. I think the end goal, if there is an end goal, is to always just try to find God, and
Yes.
go through God, because you're always gonna have questions. I think there's never a set stone like answer, right? Especially when it comes to faith, you're always gonna have questions. It's
Yeah.
always like, what about this? What about that? And I
Yeah.
personally feel that if I put my energy into, oh, you're Catholic, oh, but you don't, it just becomes like a religion, like if it's sports teams, like, oh, your team and my team, like,
Right.
yeah, like in the end of the day, I don't feel that's good. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that at least that lets me sleep at night, knowing that in the end of the day, if you follow this religion, the end goal is to work through God, and you let God work through you. That's how I feel.
Yes.
But I know that that's not an easy thing to say, because
Right.
religion, that's a touchy subject, man. That's why they
Yeah.
say you can't even speak about that in the workplaces, because it's such
Oh,
a,
truthful.
yeah, it's so like it's a heavy
Sensitive.
there you go. Yeah, it's a touchy subject. But yeah, I'm sure that must be challenging for you.
Yes, it is. And but I mean, like, I'll still pray the rosary, because my grandma, um she was, heavily devoted on pray the rosary every day, just super big in her Catholic and religious faith, so I just feel like it's a part of me, you know what I mean, like it is me. And I don't think, even like my sister, others may say, like, no, even doing the
Yeah.
sign of the cross, or even like, I have like my Virgin Mary candle, or, like she's like, oh, that's like, worshiping idols. And I'm like, well, she's Jesus's mom, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just, yeah, I just feel like, I just, again, like, even as a Christian or practicing Christian, I feel like, praying to the Virgin Mary, or praying, isn't gonna do me harm. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be condemned, or you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
mean,
Like,
that's the thing, that like that's why I feel that with faith, you gotta trust your process,
yeah,
because there's so many questions that, like, if right now, like if God was in front of you, how many questions you're gonna ask.
oh,
There's, what I mean, like, there's not. I feel like there's sometimes there's not really like concrete answers to the questions, you know. And us, we as humans, we want to feel like a sense of a certainty in a certain question. Sometimes we want to feel like, oh, for sure, this is the concrete answer, like, and sometimes we think so much black and white. We don't, but there's a lot of gray area, if it's like if right now I ask, okay, if you're Christian, you're gonna automatically go to heaven, but what about if you're Christian and you're doing stuff that is not okay, and then a person that's Catholic is doing, much great things? Does that mean that, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are questions that are endless, and that's why sometimes I try not to focus on those type of questions, because I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me or others in the end game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it just makes it a point of pointing fingers. I'm like, I could point a finger at you and there's three fingers pointing back, and that's why I try not to really, yeah, like,
point like
yeah, I'm just
this.
gonna go like this. Yeah. you know that's what it's but I do feel, that's so, because I know that, you grew up in a Catholic, family, so it
Yeah,
is interesting to know that those are certain things you kind of have to go through.
I'm still going through it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's not stopping now.
it's still there.
Yeah.
But I, like, actually, I even had a conversation with my mom earlier today, and I'm like, hey, um, what are we doing for Easter? And she's like, well, I'm working, because she works at a church. So
Yeah, yeah.
obviously it's heavy with the masses. So
Hmm.
there's going to be a lot of people. So she's obviously going to be working. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. And none of us have kids. So it's not like
Yeah.
they care about Easter.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So that's why I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to serve too. Then I'll just be
Yeah.
at church serving. Why not? Like, it's going to
Yeah.
be a beautiful day. They need the help. If I have an open day, why not? You know what I mean? Like, if I can give, I'll give.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, that's beautiful, sis. I'm glad, you know, I just even when we talk, just to know that you always even just give refreshers for me whenever I feel that if there's a day or two or a week that I'm not being consistent with, whether it's my prayers, whether it's my scriptures, you know, I'm human, so I try not to be so hard on
Sure.
myself because I know that it's a process. But it's good to see when you post, see that you are, serving, even when you're working, even when you got a lot of stuff going on, you're still in it. So it's good to see, like, yeah, like one I see your post and then later it's like I made it and it's to work, so so no, I'm thankful for you sharing that with us because especially when it comes to like religion, politics, those are always conversations that are they're touchy, and it makes sense,
Yeah.
but I'm appreciative of you sharing that because it feels good to even talk about faith with you because we're always learning from one another. How do I say it? One another? Is that how you say it?
One another. Who are you
Okay.
looking at?
The sky, the trees, nature, God's
Who's over
creation.
there?
I'm almost done. Imagine. I'm all,
Yeah, we'll go get food right now.
yeah,
Chill.
I'm all, don't forget the ranch.
I'm like the pillow moves.
I'm all,
Nothing's moving.
I want to say AC. No, but okay. But one thing I do want to talk about is the fact that you're part of radio again. Okay.
Yes.
So, but we can't dismiss that. There was a time. You know what I mean? Look, there was a time where you were in radio, and there was a time where you weren't in radio. And I remember that. I remember both times. You're right, and I remember how hard it was. For us having those conversations because I don't think people understand how much time we were at the radio station, how much effort we put into just that stuff that we wanted to be a part of. Yeah, and building. I remember even you being able to be on air. And I remember me hitting you up like, yo, sis, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, I was calling you. Like, I remember just those moments. And it seems like so long ago. And it's like, oh, but those were difficult times, man. Like those conversations after of us being like, yo, I remember me being part of a radio station for almost 10 years, and then and next thing you know, you wake up and it's like you're not part of that team anymore, and us having those conversations, like, we had, that's what I'm saying. We were there for each other, man, because we were just trying to uplift each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I remember at that time. So, obviously we don't have to go into super detail. It's like, obviously we're at a different place, but when we weren't part of radio, like, did you envision yourself being part of radio again? Or what was that time like for you? Because I think the fact that you're part of radio now is just, life takes a full circle. So at that time, did you feel you were going to be part of radio again? Or were you just like not even thinking that? Like, can you kind of walk us through that radio journey? It's the second mountain of your radio journey, in a way.
Okay. So, I mean, yes, I always knew that I was going to go back to radio because I love radio. Radio is I mean, I knew I was going to go back. I didn't think it was going to be to where we were.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to be back somewhere because I loved it. I had so much fun in it. And I knew, again, like I knew I wanted to, I knew I wanted to be there. I even wrote it on a Post-it, like one of my depressive nights in quarantine. I wrote it on a Post-it, like, you will work in radio again. And I wrote the date. I think it was like March or something. I think it might have been the day after I got fired, to be honest, or something like that, or maybe furloughed or something, or you'll be back on the air. But yeah, I knew I was going to come back. And I mean, I'm back now, but even prior to being where I'm at now, I was back in many ways. Remember when I was driving to Chatsworth to do the I'm not going to say the name, but I was going to be a board op for a digital talk radio station.
I remember.
And when I tell you I was driving for free to Chatsworth every single day, I think, where was I living? I feel like I was still living in Cerritos at the time. I wasn't even living at.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I don't even think I was.
Maybe you were like in between. I think you were maybe. maybe.
I don't know where I was, but the point is, I was driving to Chatsworth. That ain't cute to drive to Chatsworth. So I was driving to Chatsworth, and
Yeah.
legit, it was like, oh, I was like, no, this ain't it. I know I want to be
Yeah.
in radio, but this isn't it. And that
Which is a
didn't
lot, by the
happen.
way. But we can't just dismiss that though. But that's a lot because we've taled about that. It's
Oh,
like,
we did, because
yeah,
remember I
that's.
was gonna take the position,
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
and I
Like for
said
you to have
no.
self awareness to something that doesn't make sense for you at that time. You know,
Doesn't
and
feel
that
my purpose.
doesn't feel. That's what that's important though, right? We can't just like overlook that because it's like you know being part of radio and then having an opportunity to be part of radio again. You know, as you know, maybe even for your ego, you're like, oh, you know, I'm in radio again. All those things, you could just be like, all right, like fuck it, like I do cuss a little, no, but like if
Fact.
funny fact, no, but but for you to be like, nah, you know what,
No.
this isn't this isn't for me, you know.
Yes.
So just for people to listen, is like not everything that's in front of you you're supposed to just take just because it has
And
to
how
make
beautiful
sense.
that I can say it so easily now, because remember
Yeah,
how hard it
no,
was
I
for me. I
remember.
was like
Yeah,
crying. I was
no, I
legit
know.
crying,
I
but it's
remember.
okay because we're
Yeah,
better places now.
yeah.
But even after that too, I had gotten an opportunity to do street team, but even that too, because I was kind of like, in a sense, taking a step down of what I did before, because before I was doing I was a board op / producer / on air.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, like, to
Mhm.
team, not to say it was a step down, but I just, again, like, I love radio so much. I saw the opportunity that I was like, here, I'm willing to, you know, like, do
Yeah,
that, you know, like, because I know I need to work, because I know sometimes you do got to go back from the bottom and work your way
yeah,
up, you know,
yeah.
like those opportunities aren't always going to be presented to you. But then, you know what, I got another opportunity, and now I'm where I'm at, and I'm at iHeart, and I've been there since December, and it's been great because I
Yeah.
started as a board op, and that quickly transitioned, and now I'm officially Karen Sharp's producer for Coast Love Songs on 103.5, Coast 103.5.
Boom. Boom.
Yes.
Well, come on, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
legit, it's cool.
yeah. No, I mean, and like,
Cool.
no, it's just fucking rad.
It's just real cool, man.
Dude, it's fucking awesome. No, but come on, man. Like that's such a beautiful thing, you know, and just seeing it, like, because it's, I just remember having those conversations, you know, and seeing you go through certain situations, and even as a friend, you know, it's you try to look at, you know, the positive in certain situations sometimes, you know, but in the end of the day, it's, you got to go through that, you know. I could tell you so much stuff, but in the end of the day, it's like you had to you had to go through that. You had to go through certain shifts. You had to make those drives. You had to talk to yourself. You had to, you know that there was a light in the end of that tunnel, you know, and the fact that, you know, even I know we went to go eat Buffalo Mommy last time. You were telling me about like your job description, kind of like what you do. It just felt nice to hear, knowing that at one point we were talking about like, yo, you know, we're not in radio, this and that, like just trying to figure ourselves out, to you being like, oh, I'm training. Like, it just feels cool to see, because as your friend and just someone that knows how hard you work, it's admirable, and I hope that people get to hear that and know that it's not over, right? Like, because at that time it felt like the, you know, the walls were crashing in. Yeah, like, oh my god, this is it. And the fact that even you said, like, when you with this street team, you know, you had to let your ego to the side, because the ego is the enemy, you know. Like, shout out to Ryan Holiday, ego is the enemy, man, because you could have easily been like, what? Like, I was on there at some point, or I was a board, like, I'm not, you know. And that's not to dismiss, you know, what street team is, because I was in street team, you know. And I mean, I was in street
team for work,
you know. I was in street team. That was my first shot into radio, you know. Street team, board up, to them being on air, you know. So that's why you were saying, like, you kind of, you know, went the other route in a sense, you know. But you understood it, and I think it's good for people to hear that and be like, you know what, like, you have to be very, very self-aware into why you're doing certain things, you know. So how is the current job, how's it going for you? And what's it looking like, you know?
It's great. Well, number one to start, Karen Sharp is a GOAT. She's been on air for Coast for over 30 years. She does the love songs. So it's basically like, sending in little love notes, love requests, love thoughts,
Yeah.
very love music, 80s. Coast plays 80s, the best of the 80s. So it's great. I love it. It's actually when I first started the position, I was kind of scared because part of my job entails to write the blogs for the show,
right,
and I'm not a writer. I'm
yeah.
not a writer. So I was like, oh Lord, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do? I can barely write one blog, let alone two a night, and then I have them scheduled. I have to do one by 7:30, one by 9:30. So I'm like, oh gosh, okay, whatever in between. So, but I do it. I don't know how I do it, and I do it, and I get it done. And not gonna lie, I do go on Coast, and I'll like go on and I'll read like what I write, like once it's posted as the blog, and I'm like, it was kind of good.
You're all...
I was like, you too, not to toot my own horn, just like, but I'm just like, but I think it's great though. I love it because it's obviously when I got the position, I knew that I was capable of doing it because I already did something similar to that prior at the other station. But now it was just kind of doing it on a different level. And obviously like with every new place that you're at, you're going to learn new things. So I just like, I'm just grateful that I got the opportunity and that I'm learning, like number one with the blogs, like that's just like, and it's a lot easier now that I feel like I've officially been doing it a month now. So it feels good, like I feel like I've finally gotten my flow. And again, like I just know that it's only going to get better because like we're getting to know each other, Karen and I, and it just we already work well with each other, just already from training, so that's great, that she feels comfortable with me because that's the most important part, is that she's the on-air talent, like it being her show. So I'm just grateful, and I know that it's not, like you said, it's not only the beginning. It's like not like I know that, and I know that this position isn't forever either, so it's just gonna be kind of exciting to see where this can take me and where I can go from it. And what's next, and I'm honestly grateful for being at iHeart too, because like when I first started in radio, like yes, I did love Power, because I grew up listening to that station, but ultimately I feel like when I started radio, iHeart was my main like has always been like goal for me to also work at iHeart, so it just feels really good that I'm like, and again, like I actually have like journal. Everyone should journal. Please journal. Buy yourselves a journal and do it, because I just think it's great, because I always like look.
Here's mine.
I always like look through it and I'm just like, I read and I'm like, wow, this is amazing, because I literally wrote it down, like I wrote things down, like even recently too, like be back on air, be back in radio. And like, so it's just great the fact that I'm able to see like my manifestations, my prayers coming to vision. And like just going back, like I know it's only the beginning and it's just exciting to see what God has planned for me, where am I gonna go. I'm ready, and it's cool. And actually Karen too, so we had lunch not that long ago, and she was like, I just want to let you know that every person that has left from this position, they've stayed with me for about 2 years and some change, but every girl I've had that has left from me has gone to like big, like that's either amazing, so. And also, like my homie, he DM'd me. Shout out to Pedro. He sent me a little DM, like, and he was like, from one of the times that I like posted that I was going into work or something. He's like, sis, trips me out. He's like, not trips me out, but he's like, you have literally worked in every building, like.
I know, huh?
Oh my god! I mean, that's and awesome. It's crazy because I left the street team position to go to iHeart. That's why, like, I mean, that's why my time with, the other station was so short, was because I had to choose, and I was like, yo, iHeart's goal. I'm head out, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
like bye, you know, but I'm grateful and like happy with the decision that I made because like look, so quickly I transitioned and now now I'm a
You're
producer.
look at me.
Look at me now. I'm getting paper. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're chilling.
No, that's great. Man, you know what's crazy though? Right now you said through power and manifestation. Because I know right now you also are at Pico, right? You're doing Pico, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're doing shit, right? Just like you're working. But
Yes.
you said power and manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, you know, manifestation, it could be seem like, you say it and then you don't do nothing, right? It's just gonna land on your lap, right? Because, and what I mean by that is that you pray, you manifest, but you work for it. Like I think
Yes.
I remember we were talking about, oh yeah, I'm applying here. Like you're applying, you're doing the action behind the manifestation, behind the
Yes.
prayers too, right? Like, and I think that's important. If you could just kind of talk about that, right? Because I'm like, we could say, oh, I want a big house, right? And it's like, oh, it's like we think it's just somebody's gonna come in the front door like, hey,
Here's the
here's your big,
keys.
yeah, here's the key. And you're like, oh my god, manifestation works, but it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. Like
Yeah.
like you got like you work your ass off, just being super blunt. Like I said in your post, it's like you're working hard, man. Like you don't just chill, so do you feel like when you do your manifestation, you're journaling, your prayer, like, do you have the intention of the work that's gonna be behind it, or do you feel like you just do things until something hits?
I feel like I put the intention out and I'm working, and then I'm giving also while putting the intention or putting the prayer out, I'm, also like seeing and looking for the signs or the opportunities that maybe God is trying to tell me, like, this is, like, this is your moment, whether it is to speak up or whether it is to, like, ask, or because I feel like for like my producer position, like I was really communicating with my boss, like, yo, if an opportunity like for extra hours, or if you need help like for this
Right.
remote, or if you need help for this, let me know. I'm flexible, I can come through. You got me, I'm your girl.
Yeah.
So that's I feel like why my boss like kind of consider, like not consider me, but push me towards that position, or like kind of like recommended me for my
Yeah.
position now, because of the fact that he saw that I was kind of like a go-getter, or not afraid to ask,
Right.
or
Yeah.
going back to the backpack drive, like I put the intention, I wanted to do it, like I can't be like, hey Vanessa, my director would be like, Vanessa, you're gonna plan a backpack drive,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
not how it works. Like I had to
Yeah.
walk in and be like, yo, this is what I want to do, it, let's do it. It's gonna, like, I presented my points, obviously, like again, if
Yeah.
I think it's just putting the intention and then looking for the sign, and looking for the moment,
Yeah.
and yes, putting in the work, but looking for that moment where you're like, all right,
Yeah.
whatever, from this point forward, it's gonna get me closer, or push me back, or get me to another person, or another way to get me
Yeah.
closer to what I want to get. You get me?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And then I have one last question for you, because
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how you see it. When you say, like, listen to how God is telling me to do it, or God signs, you know, how do you, like, I want to figure out a way to kind of answer it, but it's like, when people say, even I say, like, oh, God was talking through me, or God was telling me, someone that's not in faith could be like, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't make
How do you
sense.
know?
How do you know? Right? Because it's like even Jacob, like, I'm like, you gotta, he's like, but I don't see God, I don't see him, and it's
Why is he gonna tell me?
yeah, and I'm like, I get it, like, and I'm like, well, I mean, that's a great question, because he's like,
Yeah.
but I prayed that, but I don't see him, and I'm like, no, that's a great question, I'm not mad at it, like, no, no, but I'm like, no, it makes sense, so for you, how do you feel you take that in? It's like, what do you mean by God is talking through me? Like, is it, through books? Is it through people? Is it through, a message in a service? Like, how would you best describe that if someone that's not in faith asks you that question?
I think if it resonates with me, then that's usually my cue.
Yeah.
If it's like, if I hear what, and going back to like, if it's, whether it be a word, whether I be listening to, reading something, or like whatever, a phone
Yeah.
call, like anything, you know, like I think if it's like lingering in me in
Yeah.
my thought process, and I'm like, okay, why? You know,
Right.
like, and then I act on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm interpreting that as God, you know, like, or as my sign, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whether it be like, you know, should I say this at this moment? You know, like, why, you know,
Yeah.
why is that
Yeah.
in your
Why is
head?
that? Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Right.
Why does it keep
Why did
like
that
coming up?
thought randomly come through? You know, or why when you heard this, did that, why when you're listening to this, did that
Mm-hmm.
specific thing stick out? Or, you know, like, or straight up, sometimes I be getting the chills, and that's
Yeah.
trippy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, I think sometimes, you know, like it, like, you know, sometimes I think like are those moments too where I feel like I've had, and I'm like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like
But
ill, like
yeah. Like
like just like
ooh.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Trippy, you know, like
Yeah.
I
Dude.
see you, God. Hey, God, you know, like sup, God. But you know what I mean? Like I think that going on that, if it's if it lingers, or if it's like resonating with me, and I'm like, okay, why am I thinking on it, or why is it like, you know, here?
Yeah.
Then okay,
Well, sis, I appreciate you. Is
okay.
there anything else? I feel like we talked about pretty much everything, right? Like, I think we had some good convos. Is there anything else you feel like we didn't share? No.
No, other than
Yeah.
you're amazing. I appreciate you, your
Mm.
friendship, your vibe. It's always a good time.
Mm.
Jacob's getting so tall. I don't even want to like,
I know.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah.
And yeah, good luck too, because he's a like little ninja fighter, so he's gonna like karate chop you
Ninja fighter.
Tuesday or whatever he is.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Shout out Raj.
Yeah. Hey, should I Roger?
Shout out to the homies. No, but I love you. You're amazing. Hopefully we gotta rock the stage this summer at Summer Street Fest. You know,
I
that's
know.
where you and I like kind of,
Yeah.
that's where you and
Vibe
I
out.
shine. That's our
Yeah.
thing, you know? B&B, we back or whatever.
Boom.
But yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me.